Hey, welcome to Sipper Social Club. I'm Jeremy. Today I have Booker's 30th Anniversary Bourbon, a combination of 9 and 16-year-old whiskeys. This is one of my favorite presentations I've ever seen in a bourbon before. I'll let you know why when I nose it, taste it, and give it a mark. Alright, 70% of this whiskey is 9 years old. The remaining 30% is 16 years old. 62.9% ABV on the nose. Just really nice, rich, bold flavors coming out of this. First thing I pick up is like a cherry wood, a cherry oak. Kind of get that rich kind of cherry, toasted kind of oak that goes with it. Really nice. And then peanut. Lots of peanut aspect coming out of this. You get like smooth peanut butter, and then you get like a peanut shell, that kind of like dry peanut shell flavor. Remember when restaurants used to allow you to peel peanuts and then huck the shells on the floor? Before everyone seemed to have a peanut allergy. Reminds me of that. Reminds me of that like kind of aroma in a restaurant like that. That dry peanut works super well in this. You get typical bourbon flavors, the vanilla, the caramel, both cranked up. Very nice, rich boldness to them as well. A little bit of clove in here. Maybe on the back end you get this little bit of like floral, almost like a rose petal. I don't really pick up too much of floral aspects in bourbons too often. Maybe it's that like older 16-year-old stuff in here that's coming out with that. Really nice nose on this for sure. Let's go palate. Really sharp arrival on this. Attacks your palate. You can definitely feel that 62.9% ABV. Gives you that like nice warm hug. Doesn't blow you away, but it's just, I think it's that to that point where it hits you, but it doesn't kill you. Sometimes I talk about how you kind of like that attack from a bourbon, from a high strength bourbon. Bourbon drinkers will appreciate this one for sure. Again, with those peanut aspects here, a little bit of like that peanut butter note to it. Ginger cookies, get a really nice ginger cookie note to this, like Christmas, baking spice kind of aspect to it. That's really nice. Again, the dark cherry, the clove aspects come back. The oakiness on the finish, not too out of control. I know a lot of people's thing about older bourbons is like how much oak influence are you going to get. I think this one's well integrated, well balanced in here. That older 16-year-old stuff isn't drying your palate out, maybe like an older, drier bourbon would. This one kind of stays very viscous and not as drying as you may expect. Really good. Last thing on the finish, you get a little bit of that cherry, almost like a cherry liqueur kind of aspect to it. Really nice sweet kind of cherry note, and then some spice. You get a lot of spice coming on the finish. Really nice bourbon. They did a great job of blending this with the two different ages of whiskey. It's well balanced. It gives you everything you want, I think, in a Booker's. Score wise for me on this one, I'm gonna go 89.5 out of 100. Big mark. I think probably my highest Booker's score I've done so far. I'll get into other batches of Booker's in a second. So 89.5 out of 100 for value. This one was a lottery winner for me. I'm not going to score it for value. I am sipping on a sample that I was given by my good friend Richard. Richard, thank you so much. Friend of the show, super generous with his whiskey. He gave me like a 100 ml sample, so I've just been nursing that. Haven't cracked this one yet. I just love the presentation. I said before I love the presentation of this. The box is really cool. So it uses refurbished wood from an old rick house. It says right on the little tag that Booker had like walked on these floors before, had walked on this wood floor, and they used some of that refurbished wood to make the box. Really cool. On the back of the bottle, it says the breakdown. It says right here, 70% 9-year-old whiskey, 30% 16-year-old whiskey. I love that. I love how they tell you the breakdown. Something that Scotch whiskey doesn't do because they can't. They're not allowed to. They can only disclose the youngest whiskey in a bottle. Those are the rules of Scotch. But kind of cool how they do it here. So I kind of want to maybe save this bottle. It's a cool collectible bottle. I love having it on the shelf. Maybe I'll save it for a rainy day, crack it, in the future. Maybe when they come out with their 40-year-old anniversary, maybe this one will be cracked and compare the two. But yeah, really nice bourbon. 89.5 out of 100, no value. I said before, this might be my highest bourbon Booker's score. How does this compare to, let's say, one of the more sought-after Bookers? Let's find out right now. All right, so this is 2015-03, the Center Cut, one of probably the more well-reviewed releases of Booker's. So let's just see how this one compares to the 30th anniversary. Just quickly on the nose, I'll just post my notes here, but this one, you get this really nice gingerbread note. Almost kind of the same aspect as the 30th anniversary, just not quite as rich, I'd say. And yeah, the flavors in here, you get a really nice, you get that peanut kind of aspect too as well. It's just here, it's more muted, kind of toned down, whereas the 30th, it was just like the rich factor was just cranked to full. But yeah, this is still a really nice nose. Let's go palate on this. This is a really nice expression. So I'll post my notes here again. That sponge toffee aspect to this, like the caramel sponge toffee combo, phenomenal. Really nice stuff. So this is probably one of the more sought after Booker's releases, well reviewed. Comparing it to the 30th, yeah, maybe it doesn't have those older aged kind of like rich notes to it, but you're still getting a hell of a bourbon with this. I would score this one 88 out of 100. I paid $120 for this. That was the secondary market price. I think that price is justified for this release. So if you're looking at buying a Booker's on the secondary market, something you can get for, $300 cheaper, and I'm just scoring it 1 mark less. So I guess it kind of tells you that the 30th on the secondary, not worth the value, because you can get a really nice Booker's release for way less. My favorite Booker's release is the 2015-01 Big Man Small Batch, I think it was called. I'll put it here. That is by far the best that I've tried so far in my experience. Love that one. You get all those aspects to that whiskey. That was a really good one. I do have one bunkered away. Haven't cracked it yet, though. I polished one of those batches off about a year ago and haven't gone to it yet, but this is a really nice one. I'm probably going to keep this one sealed and just add it to the collection. I think it's such a cool collectible bourbon that, I'm just happy to drink that sample down and maybe hold on to this for a while. Crack it at a special occasion, and again, thank you, Richard, for supplying that sample. So there you have it. That's the review. Let me know what you think. Have you had Booker's 30th anniversary? And if not, what is your favorite Booker's release that you've tried so far? A lot of good ones out there. I haven't had some of the 2019s yet. I heard there's 1 or 2 of them that are decent. It seems like they're kind of coming in a little bit younger than before. Usually you're looking at around 7 years, a few months. This one is 7 years, 2 months. Some of those new ones are like 6 years, a couple months. So it looks like they're bottling them a little bit younger. I'm not sure how that is affecting the overall profile, if they're still just as good as these old 2015s were really, really nice. Let me know what you think. What's your favorite Booker's release? Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Cheers.